Please go ahead whenever you're ready.
Thanks, Brian. I'll call this Committee of Adjustment meeting to order. And the land acknowledgement statement. In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge with respect the history and living culture of the Anishinaabe, the people of the Three Fires known as Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi Nation, who have inhabited this land from time immemorial. We recognize that these lands are the territories of the Chippewas of Saugeen and the Chippewas of Nawash, collectively known as the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, the keepers of this land. Georgian Bluffs is located on lands encompassed by treaties 45.5, 67, 72, 82, and 93. We reflect on our role as treaty people and the need to live and respect in peace and show respect to the first peoples who inhabited these lands and waters. Are there any changes or additions to the agenda? If none, here's the following record. I'd ask for the agenda be approved as presented, and I'll look for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Colburn, seconded by Member Ladresse. All those in favor? It's carried. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. The minutes from April 21st, 2026 meeting is included in the agenda package. I'd ask for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Member Ladresse, seconded by Member Colburn. Are there any discussions around the minutes? Member Colburn.
Thank you, Chair Glenn. I believe there are a couple of omissions in the minutes. The first one is in regards to the list of concerns that were discussed during that meeting in regards to item 6.2. This was the application that was turned down. One of the items that was discussed that is not included in that list is concerns around reducing the minimum lot size and also reducing the minimum frontage, and concerns that those did not meet the definition of a minor variance. So I will be moving that point be added to the minutes. And if you want me to stop there for a seconder, I will, but there is also a second omission in those minutes that I think need to be addressed as well.
You can continue on.
Okay, thank you. There was a recorded vote for this one, and yet that wasn't recorded as such. It was just recorded as lost. A motion or a recommendation was lost, but procedurally in the event of a recorded vote, each member of the committee's vote needs to be recorded along with their name. And so I do believe Member Carlton was the only one who voted in favor, and the other three, being you, Chair Glenn, and Member Ladresse and me, all voted against. So that should be noted individually for those individual votes in the minutes as well. And I would also make that motion.
So I'll refer back to Michael. Are you okay with adding those into the minutes, Michael?
Yes, to Chair Glenn, I certainly can. I also want to note that Member Carlton just came and she cannot hear us. So I was wondering if we can pause for a second to see if I can get her connected.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I will be right back.
Okay. Bear with us, folks. We're just having a technical challenge.
And just see if you can say something, see if they can hear you.
Hi, Ron. Can somebody speak to
Yep.
see if I can hear you now?
I can hear you, Mayor Carlton, loud and clear.
No, sorry.
So
Can't hear me. We can hear you. We just can't. You can't hear us.
Settings. System. Sound. Speakers. Some of this, yeah. I'm gonna say aloud. Not say the. Oh, okay. So we're using it.
Yeah.
Test.
Okay, maybe I'm not in tonight's meeting. Can anyone hear me?
Good, Brian.
Oh,
Mayor Carlton,
I can hear
we
you.
can hear you.
now we've
Okay.
got sound. Thank you.
Okay.
My apologies, everyone.
All right. Good.
Just give Michael a minute back to his.
There you are, Mayor Carlton. You can hear us now.
Yes, I can. Thank you. My apologies.
Oh, all good. Okay, Michael. So we had two recommendations for changes. One was on an issues list with regards to the last meeting, and also the necessary recorded vote. Are you okay with changing these, or do you need a motion to change?
No, I can change those minutes and present them at the, get them ready for presentation at the next meeting.
Okay, and there's one other change that, before I'll ask other committee members if they have any issues with the minutes. I have one other small change, and that's under the members present. Got me as a member, Ron Glenn, should be probably Chair Ron Glenn.
Right.
It's small. So we won't call a vote on that. We'll just wait. Those will be brought back at our next meeting in August. Let me know, Michael, when you're ready to go.
I'm all set.
Okay. Under new business, appointment of a secretary treasurer. Before I read the script, I just want to take time to say thank you to Michael and the patience he has shown with us as a committee, and wish him well in his retirement. As someone that's semi-retired, I'm sure that you will enjoy it and you will find things to do. So with the impending retirement of the present secretary treasurer for Committee of Adjustment, a new secretary treasurer needs to be appointed. It's therefore recommended that Denise McCarl, and Denise is here this evening, and I will give her the floor to speak in a minute. Director of Development Infrastructure be appointed as the secretary treasurer of the Committee of Adjustment effective August 1, 2026. I'd ask for a mover and a seconder for that motion.
I will so
Moved
move.
by Colbert, seconded by Member Ladresse. Denise, would you like to say a few words before we take a call on the vote?
Thank you, Chair Glenn. I don't have a lot to say, but it's a pleasure to be here. And I have been a secretary treasurer before So I can just reach back into that memory and hopefully I'll bring that knowledge back to this committee.
Well, thank you very much and welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Is there any discussion on the motion for the appointment of new Secretary Treasurer? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Motion is carried unanimously. 6.2, new development applications, consent application B0926 for Edward and Bernice Potter. This is a meeting of the Committee of Adjustment to consider the application for a lot addition for Edward and Bernice Potter under Section 51 of the Planning Act. Mr. Secretary Treasurer, please go ahead with your review.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There have been no requests for deferral or withdrawal of the application. Notice of this application in accordance with Ontario Regulation 197-96 made under the Planning Act was given on April 15th, 2026 by mail to all property owners within 60 meters of the property, which is subject to the application, and to all required agencies. Notice was also posted on the property and on the township's website. If you wish to be notified of the decision of the Committee of Adjustment, you must make a written request to the Secretary Treasurer of the committee. Only a specified person or public body as defined under the Ontario Planning Act may submit an appeal to the Ontario Lands Tribunal regarding this application.
I will now read the recommendation. It's long, so just bear with me. It's been demonstrated that consent application B0926 is consistent with the Provincial Planning Statement 2024, complies with the Grey County Official Plan, and the general intent and purpose of the Township of Georgian Bluffs Zoning Bylaw 2020-020. Accordingly, it is recommended that the application be approved with the following conditions applied. 1, that a reference plan be completed and a copy filed with the municipal clerk, or an exemption from the reference plan be received from the Land Registry Office. 2, that pursuant to Section 5342 of the Planning Act, the certificate of consent be affixed to the deed within 2 years of the giving of this notice of decision. Note, Section 5343 of the Planning Act requires that the transaction approved by this consent must be carried out within 2 years of the issuance of the certificate, i.e. stamping of the deed. 3, that the owner pays the applicable consent certification fee at the time of certification of the deed. 4, that the payment of the balance of the outstanding taxes as of the date of the certificate of transfer/deed with respect to the property that is subject to the application shall be made to the Treasurer of the Township of Georgian Bluffs. 5, that prior to final approval, the applicant submit the applicable consent application review fee, $660 to the Grey Sauble Conservation Authority. I would now ask for a mover and a seconder of that motion. Moved by Mayor Carlton, seconded by Member Coburn. Could the planner give us a summary of the planning report regarding this file?
Thank you, and through you, the chair. So the purpose of this, the application B09 is to review an application for consent, which proposes the severance of approximately 46.1 acres from the subject lands for the purpose of a lot addition to the abutting property owned by Sheridan Farms. No new lot is proposed to be created as a result of this application. The retained parcel will comprise of approximately 2.9 acres in size and will continue to be used for residential and agricultural purposes. The retained lands are proposed to contain an existing single-family dwelling, a workshop barn, and a barn used for the housing of sheep. The key finding of this report is that the lot addition it maintains the provincial planning statement, the County of Grey official plan, and maintains the intent and overall objectives of the Township of Georgian Bluffs Zoning Bylaw 2020-020. Community engagement as it pertained to the application included a revised notice. So the application was initially circulated to go to a previous Committee of Adjustment agenda. Comments raised from the County of Grey had the applicant request to defer the application temporarily to allow for the applicant to work with the County of Grey staff to address some of their concerns prior to the application being brought back to the Committee of Adjustment. So just a little bit of a side note, the application initially proposed a 5-acre farm surplus severance. However, through discussions with the applicant and county staff, that we were of the opinion that that didn't maintain the intent of a farm surplus. So we were able to scope that down to just over 2 acres, and then sever off the remainder to the lot addition to the abutting properties owned by Sheridan Farms. But yes, so we did circulate a revised notice indicating that the application is going before the Committee of Adjustment this evening, along with the revised site plan illustrating the proposed 2.9 acre lot rather than the initially proposed 5 acre lot, to all properties within 120 meters of the subject property, as well as on the Township of Georgian Bluffs website, and in the agenda in advance of the Committee of Adjustment meeting this evening. So just to highlight, with regards to the policy, the property is zoned agricultural in accordance with the Township of Georgian Bluffs zoning bylaw. Within the County of Grey official plan, it is noted that the property is zoned agricultural and hazard lands and provincially significant wetlands. The property is zoned agricultural in accordance with our zoning bylaw. In accordance with Schedule B of the County of Grey official plan, there is high potential for mineral aggregate resources adjacent to mineral resource extraction area, and it does contain natural heritage core systems and linkages through Schedule C. But yes, so with regards to public notice was circulated, and we did review it with regards to its alignment with the Provincial Planning Statement 2024, the County of Grey official plan, and the Township of Georgian Bluffs zoning bylaw. And through working with the county, we have addressed the initial concerns and are of the opinion that the application should be approved, subject to the conditions noted by the chair previously. But we do note that comments were received from a few commenting bodies. With regards to the county, we were able to address their concerns, particularly with regards to the lot size of the retained parcel, as well as with the mineral resource extraction requirement. The planning justification report provided addressed their concerns, and they note that they have no concerns with the proposed consent at this time. We did receive comments from the Grey Sauble Conservation Authority Risk Management Office indicating that the property falls outside of the vulnerable source protection area, and therefore their policies do not apply. Grey Sauble Conservation Authority noted that they had no concerns with regards to the proposed proposal. GEI Canada noted that the property is not located within a municipal drain, and therefore they have no requirements. And lastly, Hydro One provided comments indicating that they have no concerns. So it is recommended that the application be approved, subject to the conditions noted previously. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. I'll now call upon the applicant to provide comments. Please state your first and last name for the record prior to beginning. Ms. Nicholson, go ahead. Oh, you're still on mute.
Michael, can you turn, there's two of me. Can you turn one off?
Sorry, Ben. Sorry, Bev. I needed to mute you for a second while I try to move the other one of you.
I only see one now, Michael.
Now you can unmute Bev and see if that works.
How's that?
That's better.
Oh, thank you. Technical issues. My name is Bev Nicholson. I'm a registered professional planner working on behalf of the Potters. They were hoping to be here tonight, but they had technical issues as well. It's going to be one of those nights. Ted and Bernice Potter are the owners. The benefactor is Sheridan Farms, as you've heard. We have your planner's report, and we agree with the key findings that the proposal is consistent with the PPS, County OP, and generally complies with the zoning bylaw. The intent is to allow the hobby farm use to continue and to maximize the sustainability and the workability of the agricultural land. Currently, Sheridan is farming it, but under contract with the owners. There's no additional lot to be created, and the existing use will continue as it is. With the staff, we agree with the staff recommendation and with the conditions. One thing I would like to confirm is that the requirement for a reference plan would be put on the retained piece as opposed to the piece being added. Just to confirm that. Secondly, we appreciate the county and the township staff's recommendation. There are 2 items that we would like to raise for your consideration, and the owners have just been telling me some of this information recently. There is a drain on the south side of the lot, and if you look at the air photo, you can see where that is. Apparently, it's very important, major use for all the drainage coming from those lands, and therefore the removal of it in order to allow agricultural equipment to go across there would be problematic at the point where they have proposed a zigzag in the lot line. Both parties would prefer to have a straight lot line, even if it's on the angle, but still straight without that zigzag, because they can't utilize that land with the size of the equipment that they currently use. The measurements are estimates, as you know, because a survey hasn't been created at this point. So I can't tell you the exact, what is shown on your map would be 61.79, but if you just had that line come straight, even if it's on an angle, that would avoid that tight corner for them. If you could take that ditch out, it would make more sense. But right now, that's not desired by either of the parties. So if the committee could see their way clear to straighten that out. The second item is we had put the initial line about 5 meters from the existing fence to allow space for maintenance over the years. I just want to clarify, I'm not sure exactly where the line is. I believe when we were talking to the county that it is on the east side of the fence and does give some room, about 3 meters. And they would like that clarified as well. If you have any questions, unfortunately the Potters weren't able to join us, but I will certainly try and answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll now call on any member of the public who may wish to make a comment on this application. Please state your first and last name for the record prior to beginning. Do you have any members of the public with us? Don't see any. Are there any points raised by the planner or the applicant that the committee wishes to respond to? Mayor Colbert or Member Colbert?
Thank you, Chair Glenn. You keep wanting to promote me and I keep politely declining. Through you to, I guess, Mr. Benner, given that the applicant's representative is bringing forward a couple of new ideas that might change the diagrams or the ask, is it typical for us to go ahead with that kind of thing, or would we be expected to ask for the revised drawing or site plan to come back to us? I don't know that I recall having a situation where we're looking at approving something and there's an ask to alter the plan. Whether it's, it sounds like a reasonable ask, but I'm just asking procedurally, what is the recommendation for the Committee of Adjustment here?
Michael, I'll refer that to you.
Okay. And through you, Chair Glenn, to Member Colburn. Generally speaking, when we do have requests such as this, where there is a new information being provided to the committee, it's important for the committee to actually see that information so they can weigh whether or not that has a a bearing on their sense of approval or denial of the application and any of the conditions that have been put forward. So typically in this matter in the past, it's when we run into things like that, the matter's deferred until that additional information comes forward.
Seeing
Thank
that,
you. That would be my inclination. Thank you.
so seeing that answer, is there a recommendation or a motion to defer for that new information to be brought back? Member Coburn?
I would make that motion. I'm not comfortable approving or denying based on just a verbal report. I'd just as soon see the official wording and the associated diagrams.
Do I have a seconder for that motion to defer? Moved by Member Ladresse. All those in favor of a deferral? It's carried unanimously. So Ms. Nicholson, you can revise that sketch with regards to the application and additional information, and it'll come back to committee for consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. This public meeting now is adjourned at 5:27. Development application 2026-054, consent application B1026. Ali and
Chair Glenn?
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Could I get the mover and the seconder for the motion to defer
No,
on that last one?
Mover was Member Coburn and seconder was
okay.
Member Ladresse.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Michael.
That's okay. I was writing at the same time.
No worries.
Sorry
No
to
worries.
interrupt.
Yeah, that's okay. So this is a consent application B1026. This is a meeting of the Committee of Adjustment to consider the application for consent by Ahmed Mohammed Youssef and Rihanna Sri Ali under Section 51 of the Planning Act. Mr. Secretary Treasurer, please go ahead with your review.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There have been no requests for deferral or withdrawal of the application. Notice of this application in accordance with Ontario Regulation 197-96 made under the Planning Act was given on April 28th, 2026 by mail to all property owners within 60 meters of the subject property and to all required agencies. Notice was also posted on the property and on the township's website. If you wish to be notified of the decision of the Committee of Adjustment, you must make a written request to the Secretary Treasurer of the committee. Only a specified person or public body as defined under the Ontario Planning Act may submit an appeal to the Ontario Lands Tribunal regarding this application.
Thank you, Michael. I'll now read the recommendation. It's been demonstrated that application B10-26 submitted by Ali and Youssef to sever an area of approximately 4,209 square meters from the property municipal address as 150 Drive-In Crescent, Georgian Bluffs, is consistent with the 2024 provincial planning statement in conformity with the County of Grey official plan and the Township of Georgian Bluffs official plan, and maintains the general intent and purpose of the Township of Georgian Bluffs zoning bylaw 2020-020, subject to the implementation of the recommended conditions of approval. I'm going to say, please bear with me, there's a number of conditions. Accordingly, it is recommended that application B10 be approved subject to the following condition. 1, that a reference plan be completed and a copy filed with the municipal clerk, or an exemption from the reference plan be received from the Land Registry Office. The reference plan should conform substantially with the Schedule A filed with the application for consent. 2, that pursuant to Section 5342 of the Planning Act, the certificate of consent be affixed to the deed within 2 years of giving of the notice of decision, or as specified in the Planning Act at the time of the deed stamping. Note, Section 5343 of the Planning Act requires that the transaction approved by this consent must be carried out within 2 years of the issuance of the certificate, i.e. stamping of the deed. 3, that the owners pay the applicable consent certification fee at the time of the certification of the deeds. 4, that payment of the balance of any outstanding taxes as of the date of this certification of transfer/deed respect to the property that is subject to this application shall be made to the treasurer of the Township of Georgian Bluffs. 5, that pursuant to Section 5313 of the Planning Act, The applicant shall pay 5% cash in lieu of parkland dedication to the Township of Georgian Bluffs. 6, that a servicing feasibility study be provided in accordance with the Township of Georgian Bluffs official plan, section 5.4, subsection B, to examine the feasibility of servicing new development and planning for sewage and water services. 7, that a groundwater assessment study is provided in accordance with the Township of Georgian Bluffs official plan, section 5.4, sub C, to evaluate the potential water supply quality and quantity. The study shall be undertaken by a qualified individual to determine if the development can be appropriately serviced without impacting upon abutting properties. 8, that a sewage disposal suitability report be provided in accordance with the Township of Georgian Bluffs official plan, section 5.4, sub D, to evaluate appropriateness of new development proposal with regards to potential impacts on the national environment and public health. The report shall be prepared in accordance with the Ministry of the Environment Procedural D54 technical guidelines for individual on-site sewage systems, water quality impact risk assessment. 9, that a site-specific surface water management report and plan be prepared in accordance with the Township of Georgian Bluffs official plan, section 3.5.2.1, subsection IB, by a qualified professional that demonstrates that the manner in which stormwater quality and quantity will be managed so as to provide for no increase in peak flows. The report shall consider how the tributaries of the Potawatomi River will be protected from adverse occurrences such as erosion and sedimentation in the short and long term. That any tree removal to facilitate the proposed development shall be appropriately compensated for through replanting or other measures to the satisfaction of the township in order to maintain or enhance the overall tree canopy cover of the lot. 11, that a karst hazard study be completed in accordance with the Township of Georgian Bluffs official plan, section 5.4, subsection F, by a qualified professional engineer with all recommendations and mitigation measures implemented to the satisfaction of the township prior to development. 12, that a zoning bylaw amendment be approved and in full force and effect to rezone the subject lands to site-specific residential R1 zone in order to permit a reduced minimum lot frontage from the required 36 meters as per table 9.4 to 22.69 meters for the severed parcel and 21.8 meters for the retained parcel. And 13, prior to the approval of the applicant, or prior to final approval, the applicant submits the consent application review fee, $660 to the Grace Isle Conservation Authority. I'd ask for a mover and a seconder of this motion. Moved by member Ladresse. Seconded by Mayor Carlton. I will now could the planner please give us a summary of the planning report regarding this file?
Thank you, and through you, the chair. So application B-10-26 submitted by Ali and Youssef to sever an area of approximately 4,209 meters squared from the property municipally addressed as 150 Drive-In Crescent within the Township of Georgian Bluffs has been reviewed and is considered to be consistent with the 2024 Provincial Planning Statement, in conformity with the County of Grey official plan and the Township of Georgian Bluffs official plan, and maintains the general intent and the purpose of the Township of Georgian Bluffs zoning bylaw 2020-020, subject to the implementation of the recommended conditions of approval. So again, application B-10-26 proposes a severance of approximately, again, 4,209 meters squared off of the property municipally addressed as 150 Drive-In Crescent for future construction of a single detached dwelling. The retained area would have approximately 4,341 meters squared area with approximately a frontage of 21.8 meters along Highway 6. So the applicant is proposing an access easement to facilitate the proposed lot creation. While not ideal, we have been in discussions with the MTO to determine that they would not be able to support an access off of the provincial highway in close proximity to the intersection of Drive-In Crescent and the highway. Based on discussions with the MTO, they were supportive of the proposed easement, which is a legal and technical tool to access the proposed lot, to be the proposed severed lot that is to be created as a result of this application, subject to the committee's approval. So we are proposing an easement to facilitate access to the created lot. While it does have frontage, this is to alleviate any concerns by the MTO. Staff do note that a future zoning bylaw amendment will be needed to facilitate the proposed consent to permit a reduction in total lot frontage as it pertains to both the severed and retained parcels from 36 down to 22.69 meters for the severed parcel and 21.8 meters for the retained parcel, which will be subject to council consideration at a future meeting. But back to the consent, in consideration of the application, it is noted that the application is proposing the lot creation within an existing settlement area where the province is directing growth within the province with 2 settlement areas. And this is within the Springmount settlement area. The property is located on the northwestern side of the Drive-In Crescent and southwest of Highway 6 within the township of Georgian Bluffs. The property is identified as residential on Schedule A2 land use designations within the Springmount area. And within the township of Georgian Bluffs official plan is identified as secondary settlement area on Schedule A within the County of Grey official plan. And the property is zoned residential 1 in accordance with zoning bylaw 2020-020. So notice was circulated for this application initially on April 28th, 2026. However, the application had been postponed. So the application had been, notice had been posted that the revised notice was posted indicating that revised notice, my apologies, was posted on June 19th, indicating that the application will be going before the Committee of Adjustment this evening. With regards to the policies, we have reviewed the application, and again, subject to the recommended conditions of approval. And we do believe that the application is supportable. We did note that the conditions of approval do fall back on the Township of Georgian Bluffs official plan with regards to that Springmount settlement area, where they do note the specific requirements in order to facilitate the proposed severance. So that's where the lengthy list of conditions of approval came in. I'm not going to repeat that, so I don't want to put you guys through that. But we are requesting that those studies be provided in accordance with the requirements of the Township of Georgian Bluffs official plan. In order to support the application, but subject to those applications being provided, or subject to these supporting studies, my apologies, being provided in support of the application, then the township staff would be of the opinion that it maintains the intent of the Township of Georgian Bluffs official plan, and subject to the appropriate relief being granted to the zoning bylaw by council at a future meeting, we would be of the opinion that the site-specific can address that lot frontage concern. The application has been circulated to commenting bodies as well on April 28th and June 12th of this year, and we have received the following comments. So the RMO noted that the Grace Harbor Risk Management Office notes that the property falls outside of their vulnerable source protection area policies, and therefore they have no comments and concerns. The County of Grey provided comments dated May 11th, 2026. Noting that they are requesting a karst assessment to be done in order to support the application, as the property has the potential to contain the karst hazard. As a result of their comments, we are requesting that as a condition of approval, again, before the committee tonight. Grace Harbor Conservation Authority provided comments dated May 6, 2026, noting that they generally have no concerns as it pertains to the application. And the Township of Georgian Bluffs operations staff provided comments dated April 28th, 2028, noting that, well, it's not ideal with regards to that access, and they may have a few concerns with regards to the access from screening and headlights facing towards the MTO's roadway. They did not have any concerns with regards to utilizing the existing entrance. The concerns were really with regards to the access with cars kind of heading towards in the opposite direction to the highway. So we did flag that to the MTO, and they did note that they were not concerned as the driveway is already established. So they did not have any concerns with that proposed concern raised by operations staff. And we did hear as well from a resident who noted that they do have concerns with regards to the flooding of the property on this road. They do note that there has been backups in the spring due to the properties being built within this area. And they do have concerns with regards to runoffs from farmers' fields on the east of the property. They note that the runoff goes directly through their property, and they in effect the 4 properties south of this property subject to the consent application tonight. So I would just note that we do have a condition of approval tonight requiring that a lot grading and drainage plan be completed in support of any proposed future development, and that a stormwater management study be provided in support of the application. That would address site-specific surface water management, a report prepared in accordance with the Township of Georgian Bluffs official plan requirements. So subject to the list of conditions of approval before the committee tonight, Township staff would be of the opinion that the application is consistent with the provincial planning statement 2024, complies with the County of Grey official plan, and maintains the general intent of the Township of Georgian Bluffs official plan and zoning bylaw. Thank you.
Thank you. I now call on the applicant to provide comments. Please state your first and last name for the record prior to beginning.
I guess I will speak on behalf of Ahmed. I think he's on the line as well. My name's Greg Ford. We prepared the sketch that was attached to the application, and the applicant had asked us to get it in shape in order for it to be reviewed by township staff. And that's my input so far.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ford.
Okay.
To Mr. Youssef, does he have any comments this evening? I'm not calling any members of the public who may wish to make a comment on this application. Please state your first and last name for the record prior to beginning. Do you have any members of the public with us this evening? I don't see any. Are there any points raised by the planner applicant that the committee wishes to respond to? Open it up to committee members for questions. Member Carlton, or sorry, Member Coburn. I'm getting this. Sorry, Mayor Carlton.
The mayor's going to get a complex. Thank you, Chair. Glenn, I have a couple of questions. The first one is in regard to number 9 in the list of, what do I want to call them? The list of conditions. Thank you. So number 9 talks about this. This is always a concern, at least for me, is the surface.
I'm going to butt in, but I'm getting Councillor Coburn is bleep, 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 bleep in and out, and I'm not hearing everything that's being said. And I don't know if I'm the only one not getting everything that's being said or not.
Well, I can hear what she's saying, so maybe we would just. Can you hear what I'm saying, Mayor Carlton?
Yes. Yes, I can.
I'll repeat her issues if you can't hear it all.
Yeah, I can't hear it all.
Okay.
I'll try to speak up a little bit if that's helpful. The first question is in regard to number 9, and this has to do with surface water management. This condition is asking for a report for stormwater management so as to provide for no increase in peak flows. I guess this is a question for our planner, Mr. Benner. Given that we do have a letter from an individual, I believe, concerned about stormwater management, how would one know if this development is to cause an increase in peak flows? How would one know that? We've had so many concerns in our municipality regarding flooding and runoff. I just want to make sure that there's some assurances for the folks in the immediate area.
Mr. Benner, can you answer that question?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will try, and through you to Member Coburn. Our official plan has general wording regarding study requirements, and stormwater management is one of those potential studies that we could request. We also rely on other agencies like the Conservation Authority to trigger that need for a stormwater management plan as well. Given the proximity to the Ministry of Transportation's Highway 6, MTO is often requiring stormwater management plans to for any development that's adjacent to their highway, because they want to see if there's that potential impact. More broadly, generally speaking, especially when you get into tighter lot development that you would see in settlement areas, Brook or even here in the Driving Crescent area, because you're dealing with smaller lots and you're creating more of an impervious area by building houses or driveways, what have you, on those lots, it does impact stormwater management more than it would if you're creating a 1 or 3 or 5 hectare property out in our rural areas. So it's a little bit subjective in terms of where it gets triggered, but that overall concern about stormwater management is something that we look at that through a broader lens across municipality.
Thanks, Michael. Member Ladresse, you had a question? Comment?
I do. Thank you, Ben, for going through all those conditions. I think given the list of conditions and staff support, I think there's a lot here to work with, like if they can produce those studies in favor. The only thing I didn't notice, correct me if I'm wrong, in the list of conditions is the easement that you spoke about for the entrance. Is that something that should be included as part of a condition?
I'll refer that question to you, Ben. Should the requirement for the easement be listed as a condition on the consent?
Yep, that's a great question. Thank you, and through you, the chair. I'm just going to quickly go through here to. Okay, yes, I'm not seeing that. That is a great catch. Yes, we can amend the motion to include that as a condition to have that registered on title. Michael, I might pass it back to you if you have anything additional to add with regards to that.
Michael?
Yeah, and through you, Chair. No, I think an easement is appropriate in this situation because there's access across the one lot onto the next one, and that's just simply when we get to the conditions and calling the vote for the matter, that would be an amended vote, amending the conditions. So we'd first call for that amendment to be moved and seconded, and then we go back to the then original amended conditions to be approved and seconded.
Yeah. So we'll make note and that we will. I'll get Member Ladresse to bring a motion forward to introduce that as a condition at the conclusion of our discussion around the application.
Okay, perfect. Thank you,
Carlton.
I think actually Councillor Coburn had her name up first, or her hand up first here.
You go. I've had one kick at the can. I'll go after you.
Thank you. This is the most bizarre meeting. All evening I haven't been able to hear every time you have spoken, and now I can hear you. Anyway, my concern is that's an area I drive by at least twice every day, and where that easement is going to go across, people are going to be aimed right at the curve of the highway. So I'm surprised that MTO is saying they don't have an issue with that, because there are going to be headlights going right onto that curve every time somebody tries to come in off Driving Crescent to get to the kind of northernmost lot there. So that is the one big thing I question about this, as well as the narrowness of the lots. But I'll wait to hear what others have to say here.
Thank you, Mayor Carlton. Member Coburn.
Thank you, Chair Glenn. My second question is about trees. As always, it's about trees. Number 10, a question for our planners, either Ben or Michael. This condition always perplexes me. It says any trees removed shall be appropriately compensated for either through replanting or other measures. Who monitors that? And how is it assessed as to whether there needs to be some kind of compensation or replanting? Who has eyes on that process, assessing it for compensation or replanting?
Michael?
Darn, I was hoping Ben would answer that.
I was like, you got this, Michael.
Sorry, that was totally out of protocol. Through you, Chair Glenn, to Member Coburn, we rely on the county's planning ecologist in our township. That's Michael Cook, and he does those sort of assessments for us.
So thank you, but is it triggered by a complaint only, or is it more of a proactive assessment and follow through?
And again, through you Member Glenn, it's it can be both. For planning applications, is quite often proactive on behalf of ourselves or the planning ecologist. We kind of work together on things, but it can also be triggered through a complaint process if the which gets the county's forest management bylaw invoked. So it's kind of a two-headed sort of approach.
Okay, thank you. Just given the concerns regarding stormwater management, I would think that the removal of trees would be not desirable and might help mitigate some of that stormwater runoff. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other additional questions by committee members? I have a general question, Michael, and it's around, we have, I'm going to say, proposed maybe 14 conditions for this severance. And a lot of them around the demonstration of the adequacy of the site to be able to accommodate water, wastewater, stormwater, karst, tree removal, access easement. At what point as a municipality do we say we don't have enough information to make a decision on a consent? That we need information to demonstrate that these are feasible from a site servicing standpoint to be able to make a decision on a consent. And it's a generic question, not necessarily to this application, but to many consent applications that come before the committee, where we have a long list of conditions that we're imposing on a proponent to try and chase down within 2 years to try and finalize the consent, and yet we're making a decision in a void a little bit.
To you, Chair Glenn, that's a very good point to raise, and I think when at the staff level, when we look at these applications, we first of all determine, is this at all feasible? If it's something that meets the general intent of the PPS and our official plan, then it's okay. It kind of meets those tests. Then what are the more technical matters that would surface through this? Certainly when the committee is looking at these applications, they're, especially when you start to get into a number of technical requirements, it almost in a sense becomes subjective. I would imagine that as a committee, you're probably wondering, wow, can these studies really be satisfied within that 2-year window? And what happens if one of those studies can't be satisfied? This is what happens to the application. It would essentially fail. So I guess there's no direct answer. There's real magic number of, I have 5 conditions. That's too many, that sort of thing. But I think when you have to look at the type of the conditions that might be being requested or put forward, and whether or not those are reasonable and can they be satisfied within that 2-year window. The conditions that are out here right now are a smattering of conditions that were brought forward by the county and Ministry of Transportation and what have you. So we've seen other applications where we see karst assessments, seems like all the time, and that servicing feasibility groundwater piece, that we often get those on smaller lots. So I think when I look at these conditions, you're right, there are certainly a lot of them, and they're triggering several studies. So I think really it's kind of up to the committee. Is this volume of conditions, does that leave the committee comfortable that this is going to work, or should they have those studies kind of knitted together and then come back?
Thanks, Michael. Member Coburn.
Yeah, thank you for raising that, Chair Glenn. I looked at the number of conditions, and it did raise a bit of a red flag for me too. On top of that is Member Carlton's comment about the headlights in the highway, and although MTO is saying it's not an issue, the safety of the matter does concern me as well. That's I imagine, a pretty busy area for traffic. So how confident is the committee that MTO's concerns or non-concerns is, I don't want to say reliable, but should we have more concerns about the safety with the lights there? I'm just feeling a little conflicted about that one in particular, as well as the 14 other conditions. It seems excessive.
I'm going to move forward, and we have one recommendation for an additional condition from Member Ladresse, and if I paraphrase it, and that is a condition be attached to a registered easement for access purposes, be added to the recommendations going forward. And Member Ladresse, I think if I paraphrase that correctly, I'll ask for a mover and a seconder for that amended motion.
So you're just asking for a mover for the amendment?
Yes.
At this time?
Yes. Looking for a mover and a moved by Member Coburn and a second by Member Ladresse for the addition of the condition. So that will now get us to the 14 conditions that were in the original recommendation. I don't intend on reading them all again. I will if committee wishes me to, but if they don't, I will move forward with the vote, and I will call for all those members in favor. Oh, sorry, Member Coburn.
I just want to be clear. We haven't voted on the amendment yet. I'm not sure if we're voting on that or if you're taking us to the amended motion.
I was hoping that we would vote on the amendment first, okay, to be added into the original so that we would have 14. Mayor Carlton?
Thank you. Can you just tell me what Councillor Coburn just said, because apparently her sound for me has gone out again.
So what she asked was, are we voting on the amended addition motion, which is the adding of the easement to the original motion, or are we voting on the entire motion? And I said, we're only voting on the amendment.
Right, yes, and that would make sense. We only vote on the amendment first, yes.
Yeah, so I'll call the vote on the amended motion to add the easement as a condition. All those in favor? It's carried. Now we'll move to the main motion, which will now include the easement plus the other 13 conditions. And I will call on a vote for all those in favor of the consent being granted subject to the 14 conditions. All in favor? All those opposed? The application motion is not carried. It has lost. Now, does the committee want to bring any additional motion forward in relation to this application prior to proceeding? Member Coburn.
I'm sorry, Member Glenn, I'm not being as efficient in my words as I ought to be, but I think what we're looking for maybe is some of these studies to be completed and brought back to us so that we feel more comfortable considering whether it ought to be approved. But I don't know if that ought to be in the form of a motion or if that's just a general understanding for the purposes of the minutes.
I think I'm going to try and answer that. And Mayor Carlton, I will come to you. Michael, as I...
Sorry. My thing again is I didn't hear anything Kathy said, so, okay.
Okay, so I will repeat what Kathy said, and it's a question then to Michael. So the question that Member Coburn raised is, should we be deferring the application and listing the studies that should come back to committee for further consideration as an additional, and should we be bringing that forward as a motion? Right now, we have a recommendation that lost. So it's a non-decision. If a member wants to bring forward a motion for deferral and give direction to staff to defer for the following reasons, i.e., we want the karst report done, we want stormwater management done, we want site servicing done as a condition of the deferral, then that would be an appropriate motion, I believe, to bring forward from committee. So I will open the floor to say, are there any additional motions that the committee would like to bring forward? Member Coburn.
Thank you. I would move that we defer, or maybe we've already done that, but we defer and request that the following studies and reports be brought back for our consideration: servicing feasibility study, groundwater assessment study, sewage disposal suitability report, and site-specific surface water management report.
Okay, so.
Oh, sorry, and karst.
So for Mayor Carlton, Member Coburn has asked for a deferral subject to a servicing feasibility study being brought back, a groundwater assessment study being brought back, sewage disposal study brought back, surface water management brought back, and a karst study be brought back. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Mayor Carlton.
Could I just add to that some way of getting a guarantee of the safety of vehicles coming into that second lot that are facing into traffic? Is there any way we can be assured that that's not going to be a safety issue going forward? Because cars coming around that curve are usually about 90 kilometers to 100 kilometers an hour, and lights coming on and aiming right at them would be an issue in my mind. So if there's any way to add that, I would appreciate it.
So I'll ask that question through to staff. Is there, in your experience, a report that we could get from a traffic expert that would talk about safety with regards to that entrance in relation to Highway 6? Michael?
To you, Chair Glenn. We could ask for a scoped traffic impact study that looks at that particular scenario.
Okay, so if Member Coburn is acceptable, we will add that as a condition of the deferral. Okay, have you got all that, Michael?
Almost. Now I do. Should I read the amended motion? That help?
Yeah, sure. If you could read the amended motion, then all community members know exactly what we're talking about.
Okay. The amended motion is moved by Member Coburn that the application be deferred and that studies including servicing feasibility, groundwater impacts, sewage treatment, sewage disposal suitability, stormwater management, karst, and traffic impact studies be brought forward for consideration.
Okay, so I have it moved by Member Coburn. Do I have a seconder for that motion? A seconded by Mayor Carlton. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion is carried. There's no further discussion, and I'll call for the adjournment of this public hearing. I'd ask for a mover and a seconder for adjournment. Moved by Mayor Carlton and seconded by Member Ladresse. Thank you. The public hearing is now adjourned at 6:05. Just let me know when you're ready to proceed on, Michael.
Okay. Let me catch up. Okay, now we're ready to roll.
6.2.3 development 2026-005 B1126 Brio consent application. This is a meeting of the Committee of Adjustment to consider the application for consent by Christopher and Patricia Brio under Section 51 of the Planning Act. Mr. Secretary, please go ahead with your review.
Thank you. There have been no requests for deferral or withdrawal of the application. Notice of this application in accordance with Ontario Regulation 197-96 made under the Planning Act was given on May 6, 2026 by mail to all property owners within 16 meters of the property and to all required agencies. Notice was also posted on the property and on the township's website. If you wish to be notified of the decision of the Committee of Adjustment, you must make a written request to the Secretary Treasurer of the Committee. Only a specified person or public body as defined under the Ontario Planning Act may submit an appeal to the Ontario Lands Tribunal regarding this application.
Thank you, Michael. I'll now read the recommendation. It has been demonstrated that the proposed application B1126 is consistent with the Provincial Planning Statement 2024 and complies with the County of Grey Official Plan and the general intent and purpose of the Township Zoning Bylaw 2020-020. Accordingly, it's recommended that the application be approved with the following conditions applied. 1, that a reference plan be completed and a copy filed with the municipal clerk, or an exemption from the reference plan be received from the Land Registry Office. That pursuant to Section 5342 of the Planning Act, the certificate of consent be affixed to the deed within 2 years of giving of notice of decision. Note, Section 5343 of the Planning Act requires that the transaction approved by this consent must be carried out within 2 years of the issuance of the certificate, i.e. stamping of the deed. 3, that the applicant pays the applicable $350 consent certification fee at the time of certification of the deed. That the applicant pays the applicable parkland dedication fee of $1,200 to the township. That the approval and or entrance permits be obtained from the County of Grey Transportation Department for entrance to the severed parcel along Grey Road 1. I will ask for a mover and a seconder for that motion. Moved by Mayor Carlton, seconded by Member Ladresse. Could the planner please give us a summary of the report regarding this file?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This one's mine, and I'll try to be brief given that we're long into the meeting. Application B1126 proposes to sever one vacant residential lot with an area of 8,000 square meters, approximately 2 acres, to facilitate the future development of a residential dwelling. The retained parcel will comprise approximately 26,000 square meters, about 6.5 acres, and will continue to be used for residential purposes. The retained lands are proposed to contain the existing single-family dwelling and accessory structures. The lands are designated as rural in the county and the township's official plan, so the county OP policies apply. The existing lot fabric that we find in the original township lot complies with the county official plan in terms of the severance policies and a number of permitted and existing and permitted severed lots within that original 71 acre 71 hectare township lot. The official plan also has sections, specifically section 5.2225 regarding minimum distance separation requirements for new severances. There are not any active agricultural operations within kilometers of this area that would trigger an MDS calculation. The Appendix E of the county official plan also indicates that subject lands contain bedrock drift thickness of 1 meter to 8 meters, and section 5.6 of the county's OP states that when you have new development occurring within that area, that the impact of that development on the feasibility for extraction should be assessed. Given the location of the proposed lot and the surrounding existing development, staff are of the opinion that a letter of opinion from a qualified engineer probably is not required in this instance, as that there are other existing residential uses that would already prevent aggregate operation in that area. Grey County transportation staff have also had discussions with the applicant at length, actually, and have advised that the proposed location of the new driveway would be acceptable and that an entrance permit is required for the county transportation services. In terms of the township's zoning bylaw, the lands are zoned rural, and the creation of the new lot complies with the rural zone requirements. As mentioned earlier, the application was circulated to commenting agencies on and comments were received from the County Planning Development Services Department on May 22nd, and county planning staff are recommending that a letter of opinion be received to address the county's bedrock and shale policies. And they also note that given the known shale resources, that the applicant pursue a letter of opinion regarding well water capacity to ensure that the new lot can be sustained by rural services as required by the PPS. The applicant has also noted that their existing house is on well, and that they don't have concerns with water capacity in that area. The county also noted that entrance permits required from transportation services. The Great Sable Conservation Authority also provided comments on May 7th, and they note no objection to the proposed consent application. And they also note that a permit is not required from their office for the construction of any new dwellings. And the Great Sable Risk Management official provided comments on May 6th, noting that the area falls outside of the vulnerable source protection area, and they have no comments with the application.
Thank you, Michael. I'm now calling the applicant to provide comments. Please state your first and last name for the record prior to beginning. Do we have any of the Brios here? Doesn't appear that we do. We have no members of the public registered to provide comment. I'll now call upon any members of the public who may wish to make a comment on this application. Please state your first and last name for the record prior to beginning. Do we have members of the public here? Don't see anyone here from the public. Are there any points raised by the planner, the applicant, or by the planner? I won't say applicant or public because there's no one here. By the planner that the committee wishes to respond to or have questions for? Member Coburn.
Thank you, Chair Glenn. I'm sorry, Michael, if I'm a dog with a bone here, but the county is saying a letter of opinion is required regarding ensuring that the county's bedrock and shale policies are being addressed, not recommended, but required. So that stands out to me. I wonder if you could comment on that. And also, how is it that we don't, I'm not understanding why we wouldn't be asking for the applicant to pursue a letter of opinion regarding well water capacity when that's also recommended by the county. I wonder if you could address those 2 points.
Just before you address those, Michael, this is for Mayor Carlton. Member Colbert asked questions around conditions or a letter of opinion required by the county for the shale to address the shale resource, as well as site servicing with regards to water. So Michael, I'll allow you to answer that question now that we have it in the context.
Thank you, Chair Glenn. And certainly it would be something that we would see is a condition requiring those matters be addressed for the county's benefit. Certainly welcome to, or I would not have any concerns with including those conditions. The applicant was really kind of pushing to not have those conditions included, but if it's a county requirement, I wouldn't want to curtail them at all.
Thank you, Michael. Any other questions with regards to the application? Okay, I will come back to you, Member Coburn. Are you looking to make a motion, amendment to the motion that's put forward? And I'm going to suggest that your motion is that we require a letter of opinion with regards to the shale resource and the site servicing study, particularly with regards to water capacity, quantity, and quality.
That's exactly right. Thank you.
Okay. And I will ask for a mover of that amended motion, and we're only voting on the amendment, not on the entire motion. I have a mover, a Member Coburn and Member Ladresse have both moved that amendment to the motion, and now we'll call for a vote on the full motion, including the amendment. All those in favor?
Don't we have to vote on the amendment first? Sorry, Chair Glenn.
Oh, I thought we did. Okay, if we didn't, I will call a vote on the amendment portion only of the motion that we just discussed. All those in favor? It's carried unanimously. And now I will call for a vote on the full motion, including the amendment. All those in favor? And it carries unanimously. If there's no further discussion, I'll now call for the adjournment of this public hearing. I ask for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Member Ladresse, seconded by Mayor Carlton. And thank you. This public hearing is now adjourned at 6:18. We have no unfinished business. The next regular meeting is scheduled for August 18th. If there's no further business, I will now call for an adjournment of this meeting. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Member Coburn, seconded by Member Ladresse. All those in favor? The meeting is now adjourned at 6:20.